Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Angels Among Us. My name is Marlene, and I am now just getting started on my YouTube channel. So, I did a video about 3 months ago, which was just kind of a test video, just an introduction to say what I'm going to be doing. I really didn't expect to get a lot of responses because I didn't really have a great headline or anything like that. But this is really talking about the spiritual awakening journey. Uh, Kind of what's been going on with me, how long this has been going on, and actually I expect it to last a long time. Anyway, as I said earlier in my first video, that this is a journey that I found out that there really isn't that many people that talk about their journey because I guess it can be very personal. There's so many things that happen with it, but when you do get people to talk about it a little bit, sometimes what you find is that there are some things that kind of run common. However, no one's journey is exactly the same. So, um, with that being said, I'm going to take a few minutes and just kind of talk to you about where I was roughly about 4 years ago. We'll start out with that because we have to have a starting point. And as I go through this, you'll kind of see why I'm deciding on where my starting point is going to be. In December of 2015, I was in a car accident and I had a traumatic brain injury. It happened to be on a day that I went to the hospital for a follow-up test. And so I was in the car coming home because I couldn't drive. I was a passenger. We were rear-ended from a truck. I want to say it was like a big Ford F-350 or something like that. Anyway, but it was coming full blast. Like they were texting or something, weren't paying attention. We were at a stoplight. But what made matters worse is we had a car in front of us at the stoplight. So when that truck hit us, it smashed us into the car in front of us and then back again and then back again. So it was kind of a whammy effect. I ended up with a traumatic brain injury from that incident. I remember being very shocked and dazed. I remember not getting out of the car. I remember everything feeling very fake. Like when the firemen came or ambulance or whoever. I never even got out of the car, but I felt like I hurt. I was in pain and stuff, and my head hurt, but I wasn't bleeding. So I remember the thought going through my mind that, yeah, I'm sore and I'm hurt, but I didn't need to go to the hospital by ambulance. I figured I'd go later if we could get the car home or something. But I definitely was not myself. Anyway, but they kind of checked me out while I was in the car and they left. Later I went to the hospital. I started having, I just had bruising, and I know my head was really, really hurting in the back of my head. That's what I can tell you. I didn't stay overnight, but within a couple weeks, and it could have even been sooner, I was having massive headaches, and neck pain. And I didn't know if the headaches were from the neck pain or if it was a separate situation, but I was so sore from here down that I was so desperate. I went to urgent care and asked if they could give me a shot for a headache. because I heard that that can help. I didn't know what that was. Um, but he did give me that. Or no, I'm sorry, he sent me to the emergency room. I went to the emergency room. They did give me a shot for that. Um, they took a scan of my brain and found this brain injury. But on the same day, because I couldn't go to the hospital till the next day, on that very same day that I went to urgent care, I went to a chiropractor. And the chiropractor, what did he do? He adjusted my neck and, tried to work with me. And but I remember going to this chiropractor and I couldn't speak clearly. I definitely shouldn't have been driving. I was walking oddly. Everything was just not good. But worse, they let me go home. I think they were a little concerned, but I was really having a tough time. Anyway, so the explanation started coming out. I had this traumatic brain injury. In time, not that much time, I started having things happen. I started noticing things or seeing things. I don't want to say like I was seeing little elephants in the room, nothing like that. But I was seeing things that were there, but I was able to see much more clearly what was going on. I think what happened with the traumatic brain injury, or TBI, is that my brain function slowed down so that I was able to see things that other people weren't seeing because they were living a very busy, hectic life. Whether that is being in the car on the you're listening to the radio, you're rushing to get to work, you're rushing to get here or there, you got to pick up the kids, all this stuff that's going on. The phone's ringing, you get home, you're making dinner. You just are just on autopilot and you're just trying to get through every moment. Well, it started with noticing an incredible amount of Dodge Chargers around me, which was really odd. And then I would notice that they actually were always going wherever I was going. And most of them, many of them were black. I would say at that point in time, like 95% of them were black. So, keep in mind, I had moved out of state away from like the rest of my siblings, etc. The rest of most of my family. And this is very unsettling. I noticed it for quite a while, and I'm like, how long can this keep going on? And who are these people? And why am I being followed? And so pretty soon I started to kind of get, I was getting scared or nervous because I'm like, who is this and why are they doing this? But it wasn't just like one person or vehicle. It was a number of them, but they all had blacked out windows. So, because it would be multiple ones at the same time even sometimes. So, so I went through that, and then I started to become, one, fearful. Two, then I kind of turned it around. I thought, no, I'm not going to be afraid of this. I'm going to figure out who's doing this and why they're doing this and this kind of thing. So then I want to say like I became like a little more aggressive. Like I got one guy and I said, "Hey, pull over your car," and I finally got his attention. He pulled over in the middle of a busy parking lot, like where the cars go back and forth, and I thought that was kind of odd, and I asked him what he did, and lo and behold, he did the same thing I did for a living. And I thought, that was kind of weird. And he said, "Yeah, do you want my card?" I said, "Yeah." Or I said, "Do you have a card?" That's right. And he said, "Yeah, I'll go look for one." He must have dug in his car for 10 minutes to find a card. And then he brings it back to me. I'm like, all right. He never really asked why I stopped him, what I wanted, other than I said, "Hey, what do you do?" That was my question. It was just a very odd exchange. But I felt satisfied that I had this guy's card because it had a picture of him on it. And I thought, okay. And then I saw another guy one time. And the same thing. I'm like, "What are you doing?" Anyway, he said, "I'm not doing anything." And I didn't laugh because it wasn't funny. I was just still at the point of trying to figure this out. Well, this went on for a long time. In the meantime, what I'd been to the hospital for was making me sick again because I was taking all this medicine for the massive headaches that I was having, and it was affecting my digestive tract, and I was very sick. I'd lost at least 40 or 50 pounds by this point. Wasn't eating. I was noticing stuff every time I stepped out of the house. And it wasn't necessarily the car thing either. I was seeing things very clearly that other people weren't seeing. Like what was happening completely and everywhere around me. I could get into more detail about that later, but that could go on and on. So I noticed things that other people didn't see. Let's just put it that way. And then my boyfriend would say, no, like he would blow it off. And that, it would always be an excuse over an excuse over an excuse as to why that wasn't happening. No, that's not happening. No, this or that. Anyway, so I dealt with a lot of that, but I was getting so sick. There was other things that actually I'm really rather ashamed to admit at this point in my life, but at that point I just didn't know what was going on, and I couldn't believe the stuff I was thinking because I think I was so desperate to make sense of things that I felt like it was the only thing that I thought made sense. My honey is from Egypt, and he, years and years and years ago when we met, I told him I didn't know if I should go out with him because I'm like, is my family going to think you're a terrorist? Which is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But I was naive. I just didn't know anything, and we had big cultural differences, but I really liked him, and I was very, very drawn to him, and he's intelligent, and he's funny, and he's obviously has a lot of tenacity because he came over, he went through a lot of hardship, and moved along in his life, and I admire that. I found him fascinating, interesting, and anyway, the bottom line is that here is what happened and what I became ashamed of. But I believe that this video is going to end, so I will get back to that story in a minute. Thank you.